Hi everyone. Welcome to Cafe Libellus, where I, Kristen, talk about books in the most comfortable way I know possible. Today, I'll be talking about a memoir by Jeannie Vanasco. It doesn't have the title on the cover, but the title of this memoir is Things We Didn't Talk About When I Was a Girl. I actually don't know if it was published in 2019 or 2020. I got an advanced reader's copy at the end of 2019 because I am a patron of the podcast Between the Covers. And if you're a certain level of patron, you can get some advanced reader's copies from Tin House Books, which is a publishing company. So that's how I got this one. In this book, the author, Jeannie Vanasco, faces and interviews her rapist from many, many years ago in order to face her past trauma and come to terms with her sexual assault and rape. This immediately struck me because no one really explores the perspective of the rapist. And, a lot of victims don't want to confront their rapist in the way that she does. Because of that, it is a fresh and honestly a very interesting take on sexual assault. And I'm not one to really delve into this issue. I know that there is the Me Too movement and a lot of people exposing how much sexual assault and rape there is, unfortunately, in this world right now. And they all kind of have the same narrative. This one takes a completely different tack and offers a different perspective on this conversation. And I think that is a really important part of why this book was written. Jeannie Vanasco is an assistant professor at Towson University. But despite that, the language in this book isn't academic or flowery. It's actually very grounded and informal and casual. You get the feeling that she's talking honestly to both herself and to us, the reader. Because there isn't a whole lot of flowery language in it, she doesn't hide from anything. She puts the truth out there as she is experiencing it. It's very effective in relaying her experiences. Now, along with that, the formatting of the book itself is kind of interesting. It revolves around this phone call that she has with her rapist, who was an old friend of hers, and they were very close. The transcript itself is broken into segments, and there are different points both before and after that Vanasco expands upon. And I think that was a very good format to use for this book, since she only meets him 2 or 3 times. It does get a bit meandering sometimes. There are a lot of other experiences tied in with her main narrative, and it can feel tangential, but some of the experiences are related to her rape. So even though the book can digress from the main topic, it doesn't take away from the actual narrative. It doesn't detract from what she's trying to say and the kind of story she's trying to tell, the kind of experience she's trying to relate to us. Now, I do admit this book is a bit of a hard read. She doesn't shy away from the experience and what happened to her. She lays out exactly what happened with the rape and how it affected her afterwards. And that's hard to read. It's really hard to read this book because she goes into graphic detail, not just of the rape, but of her emotional and mental struggle coming to terms with it. What Vanasco brings to light is that this is something that is serious. And it's not really treated as such in the common overall narrative. I mean, that's a poor way of putting it. But what we see in media today and in the stories that get told through the news is that this is something sensationalized. There's a common narrative thread that copies all of these. Someone accuses someone of sexual misconduct or rape. The other person denies it. There's a legal battle, and there's eventually a settlement. The woman's feelings and the accused feelings, their experiences are never brought into context. In this memoir, everything is put into context. How her life was affected by this event is made starkly clear. The mental struggles she's gone through is made incredibly clear. And she explores it unflinchingly. She is brutally honest with both herself and with us as the reader. And so it can feel like we're experiencing this method of catharsis with her. And in the end, I don't even think it could be considered catharsis. There's still a lot of feelings that need to be worked out. But it adds so much more nuance to the conversation and to the realities of sexual assault and rape and long-term consequences of those sorts of events. It's something that I personally haven't seen before, and it's an extremely important perspective to have. It's difficult struggling with these feelings, and you can tell that Vanasco does still struggle with these feelings. Her understanding, her internal struggle does not match that of the popular narrative. And she struggles with that. She wants to match that narrative, but she doesn't. And eventually she accepts that and is working through it in her own way. I think that in itself is also very brave, because people want to be the same. They want their experiences to be valued in the same way. And if you don't experience something like sexual assault and rape according to the common narrative, some people are going to devalue that experience, which is not the sort of, it's just not the sort of sentiment we should be fostering. It's easy to fall into the hyperbole and aggression that surrounds this narrative. Isn't it ironic that aggression is met with more aggression? But this adds a surprising compassion and willingness to understand that is not present in that hyperbolic and aggressive narrative. And that is where the value of this memoir lies. Not just in the brave step that Vanasco takes in relating her experience and reaching out to her rapist, but in the fact that she is honestly approaching this as a way to show a different perspective and to show that not all cases of sexual assault and rape match that common narrative. People struggle in their own different ways. They go through grief differently. They come to terms with their life and their experiences differently. And Vanasco shows that that's okay. She shows that it's a process and something that not everyone is going to understand. She shows that it's something confusing and extremely difficult to go through, but it still has to be done. And she takes those brave steps to show how her journey is going forward with that experience. So overall, combining my thoughts on both the technical aspects and the subject matter itself, I'd give this book a rating of 7 out of 10. It's written pretty casually, it's nothing of high art, but that's valuable in and of itself, I think. And especially since this book is more about the substance rather than the presentation of it, I don't think that informal languages or formatting is a detriment to this book. It does get tangential and it is difficult to read. It doesn't try to be overly dramatic or philosophical. Vanasco just relays her experiences in a brutally honest way. I would highly recommend reading this book. It doesn't matter if you do or do not know someone who has been sexually assaulted or raped. It doesn't matter if you have or have not been sexually assaulted or raped. This is an important book in adding to the discussion of sexual assault and rape. I think that if more people read this book and share their experiences and their thoughts, instead of being just an aggressive narrative, this can instead be a multifaceted conversation that is respectful, compassionate, and deeply understanding. Aggression should not be met with aggression. If you fight fire with fire, you're just going to get a bigger fire. Instead, you need something that offers a different perspective and offers a way to talk about this topic without introducing feelings of guilt or shame or anger. This book can do just that. If you're looking for something to read with a friend or partner, and you want to talk more about sexual assault and rape, perhaps your own, perhaps a friend's, perhaps you just want to explore the topic more and share your thoughts on it, this is an excellent book to do so. It's a short read, only about 350 pages. And even then, the formatting makes it feel even faster. It's a quick read. And so I cannot recommend this book enough. I think it is very important. And I feel that it could change our conversations surrounding this topic for the better. So for those of you who read the book, I really hope that you get something powerful out of this and that it helps you get a different perspective that adds nuance and depth and understanding to your conversations and your thoughts around sexual assault and rape. Thanks for eavesdropping. Hope I'll catch you next time.